sit, stay, heel. If you're patient enough, you can teach almost any dog to obey at least basic lessons. But because state lawmakers still have not learned a basic lesson about money, a lot of helpless dogs and other animals have been seriously shortchanged. Here's News 13 investigative reporter Larry Barker.
Is it fair? All that money appropriated by the legislature for this project was simply wasted.
I would have to agree on that.
It was a ton of public money and it simply vanished. There wasn't anything magical or sinister about the disappearance. The missing cash caper never made the news. The police weren't called in and no one investigated.
The money wasn't misplaced and it wasn't stolen. It was simply squandered. Now, state legislators would like you to believe they appropriate money for the public good. But in this case, cold hard cash was simply thrown away and forgotten. And don't look for apologies, there aren't any. It's a classic case study in governmental accountability gone wrong.
What's this all about? Well, it involves cats and dogs, a couple of state lawmakers, and 20 words buried in a 400-page legislative spending bill. It started with this little prefab building in the village of Edgewood, 33 miles east of Albuquerque. Now on the outside, this looks like your garden variety storage shed. Inside, it houses wayward cats and a lonely chihuahua. And across the street, there's a handful of stray dogs. Welcome to the Edgewood Pound. If a domestic animal is picked up within 50 square miles, it will be brought here. Kay Davis McGill is town administrator.
We just do not have the adequate facilities to take care of all the animals. We're constantly running out of space, and they are not getting the proper physical care that we should give them.
Now, Edgewood did not have money for a new facility, so back in 2007, State Representative Kathy McCoy and State Senator Sue Wilson Befford sponsored a $150,000 legislative appropriation to, quote, plan, design, and construct an animal shelter in Edgewood.
Armed with the legislative money, Edgewood obtained some land, hired an architect, and soon the stray animal population around here was on the verge of getting a brand new home. Now that was 7 years ago. So how's that new shelter working out? Not so well. You see, it never got built. Whoops.
Former State Rep Kathy McCoy spearheaded the legislative initiative.
What do we have to show for the $150,000?
At the moment, we have nothing.
Does it look like that $150,000 legislative appropriation was well spent?
In retrospect, no.
Edgewood hired architect Jonathan Craig and directed him to design a state-of-the-art animal shelter that could accommodate stray animals not only from Edgewood, but from the entire East Mountain area as well. The architect produced conceptual drawings, a master plan, and a price tag to build it.
The total cost of the project was about $10 million.
$10 million? Jaws dropped all over Edgewood. The village only had $150,000, barely enough to pay the architect. Did the town of Edgewood have $10 million to build an animal control shelter?
No.
How about close?
Not even close.
When the drawings came back and they said it was going to be $10 million, I think that sort of soured the project.
Really, the $150,000, which is all the money that was available for this project, is not going to get a $10 million building built.
No, I don't think anybody was under the illusion that it would, but you have to start somewhere.
There was a point where Edgewood said, stop.
Yes.
We just can't afford anything more.
Right.
With all the legislative money gone, Edgewood had no choice but to pull the plug on the animal shelter that should have been but never was. Today, all the drawings have been boxed up and taken to an off-site storage locker. Here they will sit, gathering dust, until sometime in the future when this box will be tossed in the trash. Call the whole episode a very expensive history lesson.
What is there to show for the $150,000 that came from the legislature?
Not much, just architectural rendering.
What is the value of those architectural renderings to the town of Edgewood today?
I would say 0. There's no value.
Kathy McCoy left the legislature in 2010.
When you put in the capital outlay request for this building, did you know at that point how much it was going to cost?
No, I didn't have the faintest idea. And admittedly, I probably should have.
Back in Edgewood, the storage shed animal shelter will just have to do.
What's wrong with this capital outlay process that we can appropriate a ton of money and then it just gets wasted?
Well, you're certainly not the first person to ask that question. I can assure you this is not the only project that has had problems. There's others that are, I'm not going to go there. I almost said something. I don't. You can take that out.
Larry Barker, KRQE News 13.
Nah, I don't think we will. Even though the state money is long gone, it does look like Edgewood's stray pets will finally get a safe place to stay. Voters there have approved a $600,000 local bond issue for a new animal shelter, and it should be ready next year. We have more about Larry's investigation online, including the architect renderings and a map of the land site. You can just go to krqe.com and click on 13 Investigates.